This is Danny Flexen here for Seconds Out. Delighted to be joined by Unbeaten Viddal Riley. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you, man?
I'm good. We should
Good,
obviously
good.
be reflecting on your latest victory on Saturday night, but unfortunately, due to injury, you weren't able to compete. Just talk us through that. What happened and how far away from the fight did you find out you wouldn't be able to fight that night?
I was supposed to fight on Saturday night on the Tyson Jones Jr. undercard, but withdrew from injury, back injury. Just to summarize it, something I've been dealing with for the past year, an injury that I've gone into previous fights with as well, and I've had treatment for in the past, and it's still reoccurring, still something that's hindering my performance and limiting me as the boxer I can be. So with that, joint with the pain, we made the decision to withdraw from the fight. I was dealing with the injury for about 4 weeks, and it was progressively getting worse each week. But by fight week, weighing up the situation, weighing up what's on the line, my team were like, nah, you're not going to fight. And I wanted to fight. I would have fought with the injury, but they were explaining things to me that I wasn't taking into account, such as winning not being enough, but also how you win. You know how we can market you, how we can promote you after your opening fights of your pro career, and to be seen to struggle with someone that's below my level, even if injury is the reason, doesn't matter. Try and prevent those situations as much as possible. So that's just like a little insight into what the team would tell me and why we came to that decision to withdraw from the event.
So what's the situation with the injury now? Do you know what the plan is going forward? Are you going to have surgery? What's the plan?
So seeing a few specialists, I'm actually due to see another specialist this week up in Newcastle, as that's going to be key for me. And I know people who he's healed previously as well, which fills me with some confidence with the exact same injury, in fact. So that seems like a no-brainer. But in between that, we got a ton of physio work that's happening, ton of rehab that's happening, and it's projected that by end of February, beginning of March, I should be in a position where I can start training for another fight.
How frustrating has it been for you in the last year or so? I mean, you took yourself out of your own career for a while to focus on helping KSI out, which was laudable thing to do. You had 3 fights in your first 6 months as a pro.
Mm-hmm.
Lost a bit of momentum now. I guess the plus point is you're still only 23 years old and you're still gaining experience of other elements outside the ring. But have you been frustrated at times?
Very, very. It's hard to see far ahead when something so big was in front of you. Like, of course, I'm going to be frustrated. You think, this could be minor on the grand scheme of what you can achieve in your career. But I'm like, well, that's not here yet. What was here to be achieved was to fight on the Mike Tyson and Ray Jones card. So, of course, it's disappointing. But then, you can't make decisions for the immediate only. And that's something that I'm learning, and something that comes with age, and people that are older than you are more likely to look further ahead as they've lived longer. And I'm that young, excited, talented, just want to showcase my skills. But there's more to it than that, and that's what I'm learning.
Obviously, as disappointed as you were to not be part of the card yourself, did you find time to enjoy it, and the main event particularly? It got quite good response.
Yeah, I think the main event went the best way it could. I honestly thought that Tyson was going to land some hurtful punches on Ray, but Ray done well. I've seen majority of the community and fans think that Tyson should have won the exhibition match, but I think it was very clear that Ray was picking the punches in between the ton of clinching that was happening. And I think he done really well. I think he boxed him how he would have boxed him 20 years ago if he was fighting Tyson. I think it was very good to see. Not the best on the eye, because there's a lot of hugging, but technique-wise, and to avoid someone that's throwing ferocious punches, it's very effective. So I think it was a great show. I think they put the show together really well, and it's a shame that I wasn't a part of it.
Do you think there's a place for these sort of events to continue within boxing? Because although there was a lot of criticism leading up, it seems to have dissipated somewhat afterwards. It seems to be not considered part of the normal boxing scheme of things, placed on its own. Does it do any harm? It seems quite well received.
Well, with the event that happened the other day, there's definitely room for more of those events, because it went down really well. You know, it only takes one bad event to change everybody's opinion on that. We didn't see any legends get hurt or knocked out, but on the flip side, if the next event a legend's being put to sleep, people will turn on the idea again. So it's one of those things you really got to play it by ear, and depending on how that individual event goes should determine whether they make further events similar. But based off the one that has happened, yeah, I'd like to see two legends go at it at that same level again. Yeah, I think it's still interesting.
What did you make of Jake Paul's performance against Nate Robinson?
I don't think it was that great. Like I think with certain things in life, like I'm really harsh as a critic, but he looked much better against Gibb, in my opinion. And Gibb's my friend. Like, I have no reason to say that he looked better against my friend if he didn't. But he actually did. I think Nate had no idea of how to box, but he had some grit and he had some determination to try and attack. And again, that was similar to the main event, a lot of clinching, only a little bit of work done between each clinch. But in between those clinches, Jake was landing the hurtful punches, and Nate literally ran into him. Jake looked at the ground, he swung an overhand, and it landed. But that doesn't require any technique. Like, anyone can look at the ground and swing an overhand, and if the other person's going to run at them full force and eat it, then it's going to result in a painful situation for the person sprinting at you. But like, I don't think that deserves a round of applause. And if I had done what Jake done, I wouldn't be expecting a ton of applause either. Yeah.
Is there any sort of future for Jake Paul in the boxing world beyond fighting kind of not untrained, but unaccustomed celebrities?
No, I think that's what he should stick to doing. It's not a coincidence that all the best fighters in the world have been doing it for 10, 20 odd years. Like, there's no way you're going to think that after 2-3 years training with, you know, he's had Shane Mosley and then BJ Flores, like, cool, you've got good coaches, people who know about the sport, but there's no way they can accelerate you so fast in such a short space of time that you can think you can compete with people like myself who've been boxing since they were 6 years old. It's not going to work. But in terms of fighting people who are borderline, who are predominantly MMA fighters that cross into boxing a little bit, or someone that's got 20 million followers that thinks they're tough, these are the opponents he should stick with. And why would you not anyway? Like, you're getting paid a ton of money to fight people who you're more than capable of beating. Why do you want to go and step in the ring and fight someone like me for less money and get knocked out? It doesn't make sense. That's not good maths.
Well, it'd be good maths from your point of view.
Oh, yeah, from my point of view, yeah. You know, because everyone always goes on about it now. It's a bit discrediting to me that people like to put me and Jake in the same sentence, to be honest. And they want to compare and contrast and say that I should fight him. And I'm like, just because I have a YouTube channel with 1 million subscribers doesn't mean that I should just fight these YouTubers. Bear in mind, if the right money was thrown at me, I'd knock out Jake in a couple rounds. I have to train harder to knock out harder opponents for less money. So if the right money is offered, I'd definitely secure that. But ideally, for my progress curve and for where I'm heading in my career, I'd rather not. But I'm just not an idiot to turn down a large sum of money to knock somebody out.
With you saying a couple of rounds, I hope that includes you carrying him for a little bit. I would expect a first round knockout.
No, a couple of rounds is always me being generous and realizing that in boxing, nervous energy can get you through 3 minutes.
Yeah, maybe. I'm not convinced. Having seen you fight in fight,
I'm nice.
In case it happens, but
yeah,
stuff.
no, I'm nice. I'm nice. I like to give people the benefit of the doubt.
That's very good of you. I'm not as nice, clearly. Right, well, I really appreciate your time. I know you're pressed for time as well, so I won't keep you long. But really hope we see you back in the ring early part of next year.
Thank you. Thank you.
Looking forward to seeing how your career develops. Still only 23, of course, so plenty of time on your side.
Yeah. You know, that's the one thing I have to remind myself. I hang around with people that are older than me all the time, and I think I start anticipating grey hairs like they do. No, but I'm
nothing wrong with grey hair, Viddal.
There's nothing wrong with grey hair if you're at the age to get them.
Yeah.
But no, I know I've got to take my time, and that's what I'm gonna do. So.
Great stuff. All right, well, we look forward to seeing how that develops, and hopefully we'll get a chance to catch up with you again before you're back in the ring.
Thank you, man. We'll catch up soon. Thank you.
Take care. Speak soon.
Appreciate it.